who I am, then you have made no, you haven't touched anybody's life. You may not make any legacy. You haven't left anything. You haven't changed anybody's life. Somebody must come and say, but for you, I will not be who I am. And that is what is important. And the second thing is, those who aspire to lead, all right, integrity. It is what will enable you to achieve results that you can leave to people and also leave a legacy.
Wow. Oh, can we do better? Finally, which chapter would you recommend people read first?
Which chapter?
Yeah.
If you don't have time, just look at the case studies.
Wow.
There's so much to learn. It's unbelievable. Look at Enron, a company with sales of 110 billion. You think this company should rule the whole world? But office affairs, dishonest reporting of finances, cheating. You have a chairman, Kenley, who say, look, this company is doing very well. 4 months to the collapse. When he knew that the company was collapsing, he himself was selling his shares whilst telling everybody that the company is okay. Read the case studies. There's a lot to learn so that you can also do things right. And once you do things right, the legacy will follow.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of our conversation for tonight. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's been an honor hosting you tonight. Thank you very much. Oh, can we do better? As our distinguished professor takes his seat. Sure. Thank you. I don't know whether... Oh, please, you can do it once more. I don't know whether this phenomenon has happened across generations where in class you have two sets of people. Those who are seriously always taking notes and those who won't. And when class closes, those who didn't would come to those who did to take their notes. If you belong to those who did it, I'm here tonight. You can come and see me for my notes and I'll charge you a little fees. But I think this has been just phenomenal. And for me, my takeaway was on what you think that your book can be so set apart and ensure that it's not so dense for people to go and carry out effective corporate governance. You talked about effectiveness and efficiency, reliability of financial performance, you operating within the law, protecting your assets. Then you touched on two main things. You have put in a chapter on public governance to ensure that as we build a better private sector, the public sector is also is able to create an enabling environment for private sector to prosper and create jobs. And finally, your favorite of it all and my favorite, the case studies. Thank you very much for espousing these things. Oh yes, I think we can't have enough applause for tonight. And we are not celebrating just any book, but a book written by one of our own, but time-tested for every jurisdiction, one for all. At this point, I want to just take a step back once again. We've had a conversation, but I want to do just a quick review of the book, give you some more insights beyond this conversation. So please help me welcome upstage our Professor Godfred Bogpin to do a review of the book. Please, a round of applause as he comes upstage. Oh, he's not here yet. Shall we do better?
Good evening, everyone. I don't know whether I qualify to review a book written by a professor from Manchester Business. I attended Porting T. Ahmadiyya Secondary School. Somewhere on your way to Winneba. But today is our day because you mentored me, Prof. You brought me this. You taught me corporate governance. You taught me integrity. You taught me to stand for the truth. When I met you in 2006, took me like a child, and you brought me to this stage. So since you're asking me to review a book you wrote with my economics from 14th year Ahmadiyya Secondary School, this is what I've learned from them. I've learned that there's an interaction between public sector, private sector. I've learned from your book that an effective public sector is a must for private sector competitiveness. I read from your book that the starting point of failure and success is actually leadership. Then I understood why economists these days are talking more about leadership than motivational speaking. Because in your model, you demonstrate to us that effective leaders are mindful to put in place good governance. And once good governance is in place, it leads to development. That development must impact human beings' life, legacy. So I can't get it better than that. Then I also learned that in this life, there is one thing that the value becomes more obvious in its absence, and that is corporate governance. If a company is being well run, on the average, you may not appreciate what is going on, the effect of governance. But the absence of governance that leads to corporate failure then magnifies the value of corporate governance. And that was what we saw in Ghana as well, even though I didn't see much of a case study from Ghana. But since I'm a local champion, I think it is fair, you can forgive me to bring that dimension, that we've seen how poorly governed financial institutions and the cost of resolving that on the state books in terms of financial sector cleanup cost us big. We've seen how it also resulted in job losses, all of that. So it is optional to go into business, but once you are in business, doing the right thing, putting the right governance in place and the rest of them, it's not optional, because businesses are set up for sustainability, going concern. So, Prof, thank you so much. This is a book that is as relevant as for tomorrow. And I believe that for us in Ghana, that is a book that we should all read. When I went through the book, I learned so much. Prof, before you launch the book, I started using it. So please, forgive me. So this morning, one of the radio stations called me. Prof, I managed to sneak something in from your book before you launch it. So thank you. I want to end on this note. Thank you so much.
I guess this was an honest confession, but a distinguished professor. But please, a round of applause for him once again. Distinguished Professor Godfrey Bokpin from the University of Ghana. Thank you, sir. And at this point, since it's confession, I think it's time to also confess that this morning I also found a way to tell somebody about LGP. And I told, but disclaimer, I didn't explain. I just told that if you know LGP, corporate governance shouldn't be an issue for you. But I told them I'll give them more details when I come back from the launch. So maybe at this point, if Mr. Jare also has any confession to make since you published the book. Anyway, thank you very much for that. At this point, we want to just serenade you, our guest, with a musical interlude. And on the instruments tonight, we have Japhet, who would first do Fair Elise on the piano, and then take us to one of our own favorites, Kojo Entry, with Mfame Nkoho. Please, a round of applause for Japhet tonight. Wow, I hope you enjoyed that performance. Then please round of applause once again for Japhet. Oh, can we do better, please? Thank you so much, Japhet, for that beautiful performance. Indeed, once again, he did fairly on the piano and then on the violin. Thank you, sir, for saving me. Violin, he had one of our favorite flamenco, but tonight he has taken us there. So please, next on our agenda for tonight, we're going to have a special address. But to introduce our speaker for tonight, who happens to be our special guest, please help me welcome upstage the publisher who published the book, Mr. Elliot Ajare, to introduce our special guest of honor for tonight.
Good evening once again. I hope you indulge me. I didn't want to miss this one. I wanted to do this one myself because it's so special to me. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you a very remarkable individual who has dedicated 5 decades of his life to championing the cause of governance, economics, transformation, and sustainable development across Africa. Today, we are gathered to celebrate the launch of a book on corporate governance, a subject that resonates deeply with the values and achievements of our special guest of honor, Dr. K.Y. Amoako. Dr. Amoako was born on September 13th, 1944 in Accra. And from those humble beginnings, he has emerged as one of Africa's foremost economists and thought leaders. His journey is a testament to the power of education, determination, and a lifelong commitment to driving. Dr. Amoako's academic achievements set the stage for his stellar career. A proud alumnus of the then Government Secondary Technical School in Takoradi, he earned his BA with honors from the University of Ghana, Legon, before advancing to the University of California at Berkeley, where he obtained his MA and PhD in economics. His outstanding contribution and service has earned him honorary doctorates from 3 leading institutions: Addis Ababa University, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and just 3 months ago by the School of African and Oriental Studies of the University of London, for his profound impact on Africa's development. Adding to all these accolades for his contribution to UK's economic and development policies in Africa, Dr. Amoako was recently awarded the most distinguished order of the St. George and St. Michael by King Charles III. Dr. Amoako's professional journey began at the World Bank in 1974, where he played pivotal roles in shaping lending policies for African development. Rising to become Director for Education and Social Policy, he championed critical initiatives focused on poverty reduction, gender equality, and social progress. In 1995, Dr. Amoako took on the transformative role as Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission for Africa at the level of an Under-Secretary General of the United Nations. Over a decade of leadership, he redefined the institution's mission, making it a more powerful advocate for Africa's development on the global stage. His efforts were further recognized in 2006 when he was named a Distinguished African Scholar by the Woodrow Wilson International Center. In 2008, Dr. Amoako founded the African Center for Economic Transformation, ACET, a think tank dedicated to helping African governments place economic transformation at the heart of their strategies. Under his visionary leadership, ACET has been instrumental in addressing barriers to sustainable growth and fostering policies that ensure Africa's development, that ensures that Africa's development is inclusive, equitable, and enduring. Dr. Amoako's contributions have not only shaped institutions, but also influenced policies that touch on the life of millions. He is without doubt a living example of the impact that visionary leadership and a steadfast commitment to governance can have on a continent's trajectory. As we launch this important book on corporate governance, it is fitting that we are joined by someone whose life and work embody the principles of accountability, transparency, and visionary leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me giving a warm welcome to our special guest of honor, Dr. K.Y. Amoako. And let me say that there was a little hitch in getting KY on to be with us virtually. But I think we managed to, but we were a little unsure. So we had a double plan of having his speech being read by somebody. But I think KY wants to say hi to all of us from Washington, D.C. KY, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the audio is not very good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you all right. Go ahead.
Okay, I have difficulty hearing you. So as long as you can hear me. But thank you, Elliot, for your introduction. And good evening to all of you in Accra. It is my pleasure to join you from McLean, Virginia, in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I had hoped to be in Accra for the launch of this magnificent book by Professor Richardson. But regretfully, due to unforeseen developments in the past few days, I could not travel back home. My colleague, Professor John Asafoje from ASSET, the African Center for Economic Transformation, has kindly agreed to stand in for me and to address you on my behalf. And I thank him for that. John will explain why I think this book written by Professor Richardson is so timely for Ghana's economic transformation as we enter into the second quarter of the 21st century next month after next month's elections. And I listened a bit to Professor Richardson's comments towards the end of his discussion with the moderator, and I was very, very impressed that he picked on some of the right words: transformation, 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 values, ethics. And that's what we promote at the African Center for Economic Transformation. And over the last 2 months, 2 years in particular, we are working with all the think tanks in Accra and others on what we call the Compact for Ghana's Economic and Political Transformation. And you'll be hearing more about that as we go forward. So this book is timely, and Professor Richardson, congratulations on a magnificent book. That's inspiring for all of us.
Right.
Let me close by thanking Elliot and his lovely wife, Joyce, his partner in their publishing business, for asking me to make these remarks today. Joyce knows very well that to me, it is all in the family, as I think of her. So finally, congratulations, Professor Richardson, and I look forward to reading your book when I'm back in Accra. Thank you, Elliot.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to read this speech on behalf of Dr. Kewa Amok. Let me congratulate Professor Richardson for penning such an excellent book on effective corporate governance. In a rapidly evolving and often turbulent world, the societies and organizations that will survive are those that are grounded and guided by good leadership and good governance. Thus, this book and the insights it provides will remain a timeless and priceless resource for all businesses as well as leaders. I would like to briefly discuss corporate governance against the backdrop of Africa's development. I will begin by sharing some of my experiences with you from my time at the Economic down to my vision for the African Center for Economic Transformation ASSET, and my current initiative, the Compact for Ghana's Political and Economic Transformation, or the Ghana Compact for short. It was not until the mid-90s that the issue of good governance as it relates to African political leadership became a priority on the international scene. At that time, there was a consensus emerging that poverty reduction must be the overarching goal of all development activities in Africa. This goal was to be achieved in 4 key strategies. 1, labor demanding growth. 2, investment in education and health. 3, safety nets for the poor and vulnerable. And 4, good governance. Founding ASSET, which I did in 2008, was driven by 2 concepts. One is leadership. Second one is a vision for Africa's transformation that will better the lives of its people. ASSET's work centers around the idea that economic growth by itself is not enough. We believe at ASSET that Africa transform, it should also go through a framework which, at ASET, we call growth with depth. Depth is acronym for DEPPH, which means that African countries must diversify their production, the D. This will lead to competitive exports. They must increase their productivity, which is the P, and they must upgrade their technology, all with a view to improving human well-being. And this is what we do. We have used this concept, growth with depth, help Africa's public and private sectors address the policy, institutional barriers that hamper sustained growth. So I would like to move on and talk about African development through public-private partnership. This book addresses. Economic transformation requires a market-oriented industrial policy that strikes the right balance between the state and the private enterprise, with effective mechanisms for the two to collaborate, support each other, pursuing economic and technological learning while addressing economic bottlenecks. Although visionary political leadership is vital for Africa's development, transforming Africa is only possible with a sustainable and competitive private sector. The most important relationship that drives transformation is governments and the private sector. So here, governments must create the policy, legal frameworks, and implement strategies such as access to funding, reducing bureaucratic red tape, positively impact the private sector. Private sector-led initiatives, activities can help build up the ecosystem, enhance job creation, productivity, diversification, and export competitiveness. So in this context, private sector development is one of the focus areas in the Ghana Compact. So this initiative, which I convened a couple of years ago, seeks to set a shared vision for Ghana's future by addressing some of our most pressing and urgent challenges. It is a testament to the vital role the private sector plays in the development agenda that the compact process involved consultations with key institutions such as the QC, the Association of Ghana Industry, in formulating solutions to the challenges the private sector faces. All this reinforces and emphasizes why good leadership governance at all levels are important. We can all agree that leadership matters and will always be at the core of any significant accomplishment. John Maxwell distinctly captured this when he said, "Everything rises, falls, leadership." So a leader is one with a vision, one who inspires and influences people to greater heights, leads by upholding ethical principles and displaying integrity. Professor Richardson mentioned France. As Ronald Reagan said, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest thing. He is the one who gets people to do the greatest things. So visionary leadership is about more than just strategic planning. It envisions a future that serves not only the organization or the nation, but also its people. Visionary leaders build companies, nations, on the foundation of integrity, where governance is not merely a system of rules, but a culture of ethical practice. No matter how good a leader is, only as efficient as the system by which it operates, and the mechanisms key followers are held to account. Good governance, whether at the political or organizational level, ensures transparency, fairness, and accountability. Synergy between leadership coupled with transparent and effective governance provides the necessary conditions for flourishing society. what is the importance of leadership, visionary leadership, in corporate governance? I ask. Corporate governance, as we know, ensures ethical and transparent operations with systems that hold leaders accountable. Similarly, national governance relies on frameworks that promote fairness, transparency, and justice. Without visionary leaders who uphold these principles, even the best structures. Visionary leaders, both corporate and the national context, ensure that governance is lived practice, one that fosters trust and aligns the organization or a country's objectives with the needs of all stakeholders, be they employees, shareholders, or citizens. How do visionary leaders shape corporate governance? Visionary leaders can shape governance by setting the ethical tone from the top. They ensure that the principles of transparency, accountability, and fairness are not just ideals, standards for daily practice. These leaders recognize that corporate governance is not just about following rules. It's about building trust and aligning the organization's objectives with the needs of all stakeholders. One of the profound ways that visionary leaders influence governance is by fostering a culture of integrity. Understand that an organization's culture defines how governance is enacted. The visionary leader knows that without a culture that values honesty, no amount of or governance code will prevent ethical mistakes. When leaders model integrity, encourage similar behavior throughout the organization, this influence is foundational for good governance. Leadership in corporate governance also means that taking the long-term view, or the long view. Today's world, where quarterly profits often receive more attention than sustainable growth, visionary leaders are the ones who emphasize the importance of long-term strategy. Look ahead, anticipate trends, challenges, they create governance frameworks that are agile enough to adapt to change. This forward-thinking approach ensures that the organization, whether current or uncertainty, without compromising principles or risking stakeholders' trust. Such leaders prioritize resilience for short-term gain, knowing that true success is measured not by a single financial statement, but by the enduring legacy Prof mentioned. By embedding this perspective in their governance approach, visionary leaders protect the organization and inspire confidence among investors and employees. They demonstrate that the true purpose of governance is not only to control, but to guide, uplift the organization towards sustained growth and responsible impact. How can boards empower through vision? Visionary leaders play a critical role in building and empowering boards. They recognize that a board of directors is essential to corporate governance by providing oversight and strategic direction. However, the quality of governance a board can provide depends largely on the quality of the leadership. Visionary leaders understand this dynamic, work with assemble boards that reflect diverse perspectives, independent thought. A visionary leader empowers the board by fostering a culture of openness and engagement, encouraging board members to challenge assumptions and hold the organization accountable. By supporting and valuing the board's independence, these leaders ensure that governance is robust, that decisions are made in the best interest of the organization and its shareholders or stakeholders. In this way, visionary leaders elevate the board's role from mere oversight to active partnership organization vision. Now, I'd like to talk about promoting ethical standards in corporate. The role of corporate governance, visionary leaders are often the strongest advocates for ethical standards and corporate social responsibility. They recognize that good governance extends beyond profit, includes contributing positively to society and operating responsibly within it. Visionary leaders embed corporate social responsibility into the governance framework, setting standards that guide organizations' interactions with the environment, its employees, the community operates. By integrating corporate responsibility into governance, visionary leaders redefine success in a way that affects social obligations. They ensure that the organization contributes positively to the world, fulfilling it as a corporate citizen. This ethical approach to governance enhances the organization's reputation and builds a foundation of trust with stakeholders, further reinforcing the importance of visionary leadership governance. Today, the corporate landscape is constantly new challenges and opportunities arising at unprecedented. Visionary leaders recognize that governance cannot be static. It must continuously adapt, address emerging risks, technological advancement, and changing social expectations. Whether it is the challenge of navigating digital transformation, complexity of global supply chains, or the responsibility to address environmental sustainability, visionary leaders are proactive in preparing governance frameworks that are resilient and adaptable. These leaders continuously learn, seeking insights, best practices from other industry regions. They bring innovative ideas into governance discussions, encourage their boards to think creatively. In doing so, visionary leaders future-proof their governance structures, ensuring they remain relevant and effective no matter the challenges. Finally, I'd like to talk about building a legacy of trust. Ultimately, visionary leadership's importance in corporate and national governance lies in its ability to build a legacy of trust, resilience, hope. Visionary leaders create institutions, societies that inspire loyalty, pride, not only for what they achieve, but for how they achieve. Establish a culture where governance is respected, values are upheld, all interests are safeguarded. The book we launched today provides a valuable resource to leaders in both the corporate and public sectors, offering insights into principles of governance and the role of visionary leadership. We celebrate the launch today. I encourage every Ghanaian to consider these principles carefully as we approach our election. Let us seek leaders who will govern with vision, who respect ethical principles, who commit to building a society where governance serves all its. Thank you again to Professor Richardson on this remarkable. May this book inspire leaders across sectors, elevate governance, vision, integrity, and unwavering commitment to what is right. May it remind us all that strong governance is the foundation of thriving organizations and nations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful speech. And a few things you mentioned which are quite poignant to take note of. One, you said visionary leaders take a long-term view, and they are those that foster a culture of integrity and values honesty. You also talked about the fact that transformation requires that we diversify, increase productivity, upgrade our technology skills, and this would lead to transformation. And lastly, is something that you said which cannot go unnoticed, that the most important relationship required for transformation to occur is that relationship that exists or must exist between the public public and the private sector. And interestingly, we have a gathering, a cross-section of people from this very people, actors of this relationship. Gathered in this room tonight, we have people from the public sector, the private sector, and other allied development partners. So at this point, we want to take a moment to acknowledge our partners or our special guest here for tonight. Please help me acknowledge first Ambassador George Harden Lutrot. A round of applause, please. Yes, sir. We also have in our midst Madam Matilda Amisa Atta. Thank you very much for being here, madam. We also earlier had Professor Godfrey Boppin speaking to us. A round of applause for him, please. We also have Madam Bridget Jogbekpen. I'm sorry if I don't get the name right. Jogbenuku. Jogbenuku, please. A round of applause for her. My sincere apologies. Then we also have Honorable Joe Weiss. Honorable Joe Osei. We also do have Mr. Salah Kalmoni. A round of applause for him, please. Professor Asafo Ajay. I think he just stepped out. Yes. And then we also have Mr. Kwame Esua Tebri, or Techi. I think they're signing in. Yes, please. And finally, we also have Dr. Michael Kofi. Thank you very much for being here. And the biggest one also goes to you who has spent your evening with us. A round of applause for yourself as well for spending your evening with us. We say thank you for being a guest for tonight. At this point, the much talked about book has to be launched. And since we have a chairman in this house, we want you to please join me and let's welcome upstage our chairman for tonight, the Honorable Kennedy Ejapon, to help us to launch the book.
Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. My duty is simple tonight. I've read this book, and what I'll say is, it's not just a book. In the business sector, we call it a document. This is a document. A book in the sense that you can read and just throw it away or never go for it again. But a document is a treasure. You keep it for life. And that is what this book stands for. So I'm here to launch this book tonight in the name of the Lord, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And at the Sadek Holy Spirit, this book is duly launched. Thank you. This corporate governance. I was telling my uncle that, I've read a book, but he has to write another book. That is the ethics, especially Ghana here. The corporate heads always use religion and culture to take decisions. And that, I don't subscribe to that. So I was telling him, his next book, he should write something about culture and ethics in business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for launching the book. Once the book has been launched, that means that we all have access to get one. like Honorable raised, I'm also raising it. It's time for us to show our commitment towards this great work. As has been espoused, this book is not just a book, it's a document, like Honorable said. And it also happens to be not just a document, but a blueprint for charting a better course for the private sector, public sector, and all others in between. I want you to take a wild guess. If this was supposed to go on auction, how much do you think it would be worth? Could I take a guess for you? Because of Honorable, I might be tempted to start thinking in millions. So if you don't want me to quote in the millions, please quote something for me. Mr. Jared, the publisher, what do you think? The first copy. Where should we start from? Because once we start, we are going upwards. Yes? Mm-hmm. Mr. Chairman, where should we start from? Because the direction is upwards. $1,000? That sounds like a fair price. Yes, I've seen a lot of people nodding in agreement with me. So the first copy of this book going for 1,000. Good, we have one taker. 1,000. 40,000. Whoa. Go in. So we have 1,000 and we have 40,000. You can go in between the two or above the 40,000. Okay? Any taker? Come on, I had a lot of people nodding in agreement with me. Yes, 1,000 Ghana cedis, 40,000 Ghana cedis, in between. Mm-hmm. Any takers? You know, auction is more like a bargain. And a bargain happens on the street of Ghana every single day. Let's bring it to this evening. Let's strike a bargain. What's your bargain for this tonight? Yes. 5,000. I like that. 5,000 Ghana cedis. 5,000 here too. A round of applause, please. 5,000. Great. Now we are talking. 2,000 Ghana cedis. A round of applause, please. 2,000 cedis, yes. I need my retailer to be very quick for me. My retailer. We have had 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 40,000. Go in. I know you're making decisions. Who is going to change the course of their business or the course of the government sector which they had tonight? Or the development agency that they are responsible for? Ensuring effectiveness and efficiency, ensuring your organization achieves what they really have been set out to do. And you are ever in doubt, you reference your guiding principles, which have been clearly laid out through the case studies. 1,000 Ghana cedis at the back. Please, a round of applause for him, please. 1,000 Ghana cedis. Great. 1,000. 1,000, right? Yes, 1,000 Ghana cedis. Oh, can we do better, please? Thank you very much. 1,000 Ghana cedis. A round of applause, please. 1,000 Ghana cedis. $10,000 Ghana cedis at the back there. 10,000. I love this bargain. $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $40,000. $2,000, please. A round of applause, please. 2,000 Ghana cedis. Stocks are fast running out. And the promotion only lasts as long as the stock lasts. Who is taking their copy tonight? 2,000 Ghana cedis at the back there. Round of applause, please. 2,000 Ghana cedis. Who tonight is ready to lead and manage the 21st century organization that they are responsible for to success? Private, public, development partners. Next, 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000, another 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000 or 2,000? 1,000 Ghana cedis. 50 pieces. 1,000 for 50 pieces. Shall we get it right? 1,000, 50 pieces at 1,000 cedis each. Wow, that's 50,000 Ghana cedis. Thank you for helping me out. My maths almost disgraced me. 1,000 Ghana cedis at the back there. Oh, shall we give it up to 1,000 Ghana cedis? A round of applause. There. 1,000. 1,000 Ghana cedis right at the front here. 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, please. Whose turn is it tonight? $1,000 Ghana cedis at the back there. Round of applause for him, please. 1,000. Or shall we do better for him? I can hear someone else also whispering 1,000. Oh, yes, I'm a prophet. 1,000 Ghana cedis. $1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000 Ghana cedis at the back there. Round of applause for him, please. 1,000 Ghana cedis. We have just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1,000 Ghana cedis. A round of applause for him, please. 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000. 1,000, please. 6 more to go. In fact, when we take this one out, we have just 5 more to go. 1,000 Ghana cedis, or 2,000, or 10,000? 1,000. A round of applause for him, please. 1,000 Ghana cedis at the back. 1,000 Ghana cedis. I think we are. 1,000 Ghana cedis also at the back there. Do we have more copies? 1,000 Ghana cedis over there. Another 1,000. Oh, shall we do better for them, please? Quite a going rate. Are we sure everybody has been served? So there are 2 people at the back there, and there are 2 others on the side. You want another one? 1,000 Ghana cedis again here. A round of applause for him, please. Do we have more, please? We have another 1,000 Ghana cedis over there. So there are 2 people over there who have not been served. Shall we? Yes, please. Let's bring more. More stock coming. Another 1,000 Ghana cedis at the back. Then a round of applause for him, please. 1,000. This is such an overwhelming support for this book, which certainly is set to change paradigms, cause paradigm shifts. Yes, please. Yeah. We have another at the back. For those who raised their hands, have you received your copies yet, please? On the right hand. Great. I think we just have about 4 more to go. Yes. 1,000 there. A round of applause for him as well. 1,000 Ghana cedis right there. Excuse me, how many more do you have holding? Excuse me. How many more do we have there? 4. 9 left. Great. 9 books. 1,000 upwards. Who's the next taker? I think I'm going to take one. 1,000 Ghana cedis. Oh, please, a round of applause for me too. So we have 8 more to go. Another 1,000 Ghana cedis over there. 7 more. You're taking all the rest at the back, all the 7. Wow, 1,000 Ghana cedis, 7 copies, making 7,000 Ghana cedis. I have only 2 more here. Yes, 1,000. You're taking the 2 of them? 1 each. Wow. Have we run out? Great. Let's keep it coming. We just have a few minutes to wrap up. We take our closing remarks and we would be done. Yeah. So, who else? One last 1,000. One last 1,000. One last 1,000 going. I know somebody is going to say yes, me. 1,000. One last 1,000. Oh, yes. One last 1,000 over there. Round of applause for him, please. Great. I think it has been quite an overwhelming support, stating that we have really accepted this book. All right. Shall we please give a round of applause to ourselves once again? One of my favorite sayings, which I say mostly when I have the chance to speak, is about community. I don't know how it might apply to you, but for me, this is it. It says it takes a community or a village to raise a child. That is in the spirit of partnership in getting results. Tonight, our commitment to this auction and placing an order for these auction copies goes on to assert our support for this book. And it demonstrates our commitment to ensuring that knowledge bred from us travels the globe and changes lives. So tonight we say thank you once again for being part of this auction. And we are excited to also mention that copies of these books are going to be available throughout a number of bookshops. The outlets will be made known to you. Once your contact details were taken, we'll share this information to you as well. Again, we also want to mention that as you have taken these copies of the books, kindly make it a point to make sure you receive, you get it signed by our author before you go. It will be very important that you kindly do that. And finally, some of the books would also be available at the back. If you have other special prices you are looking at getting the books for, the books are going to be at the back there. You can pick your copy. Make sure you get one at the price you're going. Like I said, negotiations happen every day on the streets of Accra. And tonight, we're actually close to Accra and Makola. Please go to the back, make your negotiation, and take a copy of the book away. So please make sure you pick a copy before we go. Again, there's also a book written by our own Professor Pikay Richardson on leadership, the theory, the practice, and guess what will be the last one? The case studies. The cases are in here too. He definitely would show you the way with relevant case studies which could apply to your business and your organization where you lead. So these books are also available at the book desk at the back. Please make sure you pass by, take a glance, and pick a copy as well. Thank you very much. At this point, we want to take the vote of thanks. And then we take vote of thanks, and then we do our closing prayer. So please help me welcome upstage Miss Catherine Abeka. Please, a round of applause for her, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is such an honor to be here in front of you this day, give the vote of thanks. It takes me back to 2 years ago where some familiar faces were here when we launched leadership as well. So I want to say a big thank you to those who were here 2 years ago when we launched leadership and are here today. Having worked with Professor Richardson on the initial book, I believe that the team that has worked with him this time have also experienced the pleasure that it is getting to hear from him as he shares his insights. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to our special guest of honor. Thank you to our chairperson. Thank you to all the various dignitaries that made it here this evening, and to each and every single person who has graced this occasion this evening and also purchased the book either for yourself, for your employees, for your family members, or for anyone else that you want to see do better. A special thank you also to the family of Dr. Pikay Richardson who are here as well. I pray that you all have a lovely evening, and thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abeka. All too soon, we've come to the end of such a wonderful night. And for me, it has been a special one because corporate governance is something that has been dear to my heart for a while. And like we have already discussed, a lot of times it sounds overwhelming. But tonight, from the 101 lectures, from our professor, Pikay Richardson, it has been made so easy for me. Maybe tomorrow when I wake up and I have a chance to engage entrepreneurs who I engage on a daily basis, I will give them some LGPs and give them some tips for them to really improve on their corporate governance. Because come to think about it, it forms the bedrock of our society. Doing things effectively and getting them done efficiently. So we say thank you very much for this wonderful book. And we know the tenets that have been espoused tonight will go a long way to live with us. So as we close tonight, we're going to have our closing prayer. But before the closing prayer, okay. So the chairman has given us the go-ahead with the closing prayer. So just like we started, we would want to end once again with Pastor Mrs. Mercy Robertson. Please, a round of applause for her. Richardson, sorry. Mrs. Richardson.
Holy Father, we thank you. We began with you, now we are ending with you. Your presence has been here with us, and we've had a good night, a successful night. Give you all the glory, give you all the honor. As we live here, Father, we ask, oh God, that your mercy and your grace will abound on us. Father, you will grant us traveling mercies. Take each and every one of us to our destination safely. In the mighty name. So we thank you, praise, we give you glory, and in Jesus Christ's name.
Thank you very much. And we wish you a good evening. My name is King David, and it has been a pleasure hosting you for tonight. And just a quick announcement, the cocktail bar is still open. If you want to grab a few drinks on your way out, it's still available for you to do so. And we would also want to take some group photos with the author, dignitaries, please. You can kindly join in with these photos. We have our photographers available. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of your evening.